trust is a split second. I want to tell you one last story quickly. That's why I'm rolling quickly. It's a split second decision. Speed of trust follows speed of thought. Thought leads you. Just thought is not good enough. Click here. Just one thing if you need to take from this session, third party. So instead of focusing on ads, try to focus on reviews. Establishing trust online requires, element of capturing the 7 pillars. The hot dog effect. It's almost equivalent to vada pav. Hot dog, vada pav. In New York, as I'm told, the street side vendors who sell hot dog, they, like for example, someone who stands opposite to the American Museum, Natural History Museum, pays something like $400,000 to get that space. That's like 2 crores to sell vada pav. How does he make that money? People don't know, and that's annually. That's not one time. Other people, they spend maybe based on the location, you might be spending $100,000, $200,000 per year as a license fee to the council to be able to occupy that spot. Now there was one, it's actually a true story. This is not a made-up story. This is a true story. The Jim, the hot dog vendor, he did this. He bought the space, and this is well documented. If you Google Jim hot dog, you'll get the story. He bought the space. He was running his business, a terrific business. Every morning, every day, at all the peak hours, he used to have line in excess of 50 people standing, waiting to buy the hot dog. In the evening, he went one day to a friend of his, and he was literally crying. He said, Jack, my problem is I've spent this I give this money to the government every year. I make a good product. People line up, but I can't sell. So he said, what's the problem? You make a good product, you have people lining up across the block, but you can't sell. He said, the problem is people in New York are impatient. As the process which it takes me to, and he's a one person, he manages just one person managing the place. So if the time it takes me to give him the hot dog, give him the change, I see that 50% of the people eventually walk away. So if I had 50 people, eventually I only have 25 people buying it because they don't have the time to wait. And he said, what's the problem? Why does it take you too long? Why don't you make your hot dogs, before? He said, all of that is fine. It just takes me a lot of time for them to give the cash, I need to give them the change, and all the things that goes with it. He said, why don't you do one thing, Jim? Place a bucket at the end of your store and ask people to put in the money and collect the change themselves. And he said, what are you saying? You mean to say they'll go and who'll watch? Nobody will watch. Trust your customers. Let them go, put in the money, whatever change they need, let them take the change. He said, I can't do that. He said, try it for a week. What have you got to lose? If you lose, I'll pay you the difference. I said, okay, let's do it. So lo and behold, what happens after 1 week? Instead of losing money, he actually gets more money than what he sold for. What really happens is that, number one, the people who are lined up, the line moves quickly. So he's now losing only, instead of losing 50%, he's only losing about 10% of his customers. So he's getting 40% more customers. But when people go and then they say that put your money here, collect your change, many of them don't bother to collect the change. So if you put $5 and you have to collect, okay, that's your tip. And he's still selling in the streets of New York. He is now a management case study on trust. So friends, I really hope and wish all of you have the hot dog moment many times a year. And with that, thanks a lot for your time.